Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this very special webinar from MEED this week. We are honored to have with us ROSHN Group, one of the 5 official giga projects in Saudi Arabia. And ROSHN Group will be outlining their strategy, their projects, and their procurement mechanisms for us today. We've got 3 senior executives from the giga project developer, and we'll, as usual, be taking questions from you all at the end of the 3 mini presentations. So as ever, use the Zoom Q&A box to submit them. And at the end of this, these 3 small presentations, which will take about 40 minutes, we'll be then happy to take your questions and answer them. Now, also, as ever, this presentation webinar today is being recorded and will be uploaded to the internet in due course. And if you have registered today, you will also receive a copy of this in PDF format as well. So you can share it or, again, watch it in your own time. Now, my name is Edward James. I'm the Head of Content and Research at MEED, and I'll be moderating the session today. And here you see in front of you the agenda. As I said, we have 3 presentations from senior executives at the ROSHN Group. We have Waleed Bawaked, Senior Director, Strategy and Planning, who will be giving an overview of the group's strategy and verticals. Then we move on to Roger Fatovic, who is going to outline ROSHN Group's project vision and update. And then we have Iain McBride, the Executive Director Commercial at ROSHN Group, who will be giving a commercial update. And then, as I said, we'll be taking your questions. So if you do have any questions at all, please submit them into the Q&A box in your Zoom menu bar, and we'll look forward to answering them if we can later on. I'm very also proud to announce that ROSHN Group will be hosting our Saudi Giga Projects 2025 Summit between the 12th and 14th of May in Riyadh, and it will be held at the venue by ROSHN Group, their special and bespoke event location close to King Khalid International Airport towards the north of Riyadh. And I hope to see you all there. If you don't mind going back a slide, please, Nabil. These are some of the partners. Here we are. If you are interested in registering for this summit, then please scan that QR code there. It was a very successful event last year. ROSHN will be there in force, including the speakers today, to answer your questions and to present and to give to answer questions. And them and a host of the Giga Project clients and key government stakeholders in Saudi Arabia will also be in attendance. So if you're interested in the Giga projects at all in Saudi Arabia, then please scan this QR code, and I hope to see you there next month. Supporting the event are a host of sponsors. If we can move, please, Nabil, to the next slide. Here you can see our host partner, ROSHN Group, of course, our platinum partners, Al Badad, Qatar Exports, Saudi Bin Laden Group, and Suda Development. And as you see here as well, our gold, silver, contracting and consulting partners, design, MEP and bronze partners, and attending partners as well. So a large number of companies and the great and the good from the Saudi projects ecosystem will be there in attendance as well. And then finally, this webinar is one of many on the Saudi Giga projects. Here we have got some speakers for the event. As you can see, many executives from the ROSHN Group, but also some very senior executives also from other key stakeholders, such as Alula, Daria, Kingdom Holding Company, Boutique Group, Red Sea Global, Trojana, Numeraba, and so on. And then next slide, please. You can roll forward, please. And then finally, as well, just to remind you, this is one part of our webinar series looking at the Saudi Giga Projects market. If you are at all interested in the Saudi Giga Projects, then I thoroughly recommend that you look up this report, our Saudi Giga Projects Q1 Premium Report. There's a special discount code for you in attendance today. And if you want to find out more, please use the QR code. Right, just a quick poll question. We have a number of poll questions today. And if you can answer this one, please. How would you like us to call you to understand how MEED can support your business? And then we'll move on to the 3 ROSHN Group presentations. And just a reminder, as ever, this is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube in due course after a couple of days. And for those of you who've registered for this, you will also receive a PDF copy of this webinar today. Okay, let's move on. Next slide, please, Nabil. Okay, so we are now first going to look at ROSHN Group's strategy and plans going forward. And we're very proud to be able to have with us today Waleed Bawaked, who is Senior Director, Strategy and Planning at ROSHN Group, who will give us a quick overview of its strategy. Waleed, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Ed, and thanks everyone. It's a really pleasure to be with you here today. So indeed, the plan today is to give you a bit of an overview about ROSHN, as well as our strategy and the verticals we're focusing on. So if we move into the next slide, please. I like usually to start our presentations on to introduce ROSHN on a statement made by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, who also is the chairman of our board. And in here, it helps us also understand the set of aspiration and ambition that ROSHN is aiming to or targeting to contribute to when it comes to the quality of life of the residents, and also to reshape the real estate sector. Hence the establishment of ROSHN. If we go to the next slide, please. An important element to highlight is the fact that ROSHN is a key contributor to Saudi Vision 2030, right? Where we contribute to many different vision realization programs. There are 3 that we consider to be the key programs that we are focusing on. So one is quality of life, and our contribution here becomes in elevating the life of the residents through the introducing of innovative, creative, and integrated communities. In addition to that, one of the key programs we're helping or we're contributing to is the housing program, where there is a target set by the vision on increasing the housing ownership among Saudis. Hence our focus on also the residential part. Of course, as part of the PIF giga projects companies, we are also contributing to that program and diversifying the economy and unlocking private investment, be it locally or through foreign investments. If we move into the next slide, please. Just a bit of a synopsis on ROSHN. So ROSHN is the leading real estate developer in the region. The company was established back in 2018. It is owned 100% by the Public Investment Fund. And we are aiming to become the largest multi-state asset developer and to be one of the most valuable developers in the world. Next, please. This is a view on our vision and mission, as well as our values. I mean, again, as you can see, the slide is a bit wordy, but what comes out, what stems out of this is our focus on people, and also in elevating places and enhancing the quality of life, as well as our goal and aspiration to, if you like, diversify and support the economy, as well as creating jobs, while also as I mentioned, redefining the real estate sector across all the elements of the value chain of that sector. If we move next, please. Maybe this is one of the important slides that I like to spend quite some time on. And if I give you a bit of a background, initially when ROSHN was established, the focus back in 2018 was on affordable housing. So many that are familiar with ROSHN previously would perceive it as focusing on residential units, but that is not actually the case anymore. ROSHN, through its updated brand and strategy, is actually focused on more than 10 different asset classes and verticals. And we try to categorize them across 3 different key categories. So one is the core asset classes, where in each of our community, given the aspiration of us to introduce integrated communities, we are doing residential. We're also providing commercial spaces, as well as offices, as well as retail and hospitality. In addition to that, given the need, we cater to the need of our residents or our clients in the communities by providing educational facilities, of course, mosques, as well as healthcare facilities. And here, this is something that, depending on the community, we really cater and identify our partners across these assets, in which we obviously collaborate with the private sector across all of these asset verticals. And depending on the need, we find the right and the best fit to our communities that will serve the needs of the residents of that specific community. Just bear in mind, and as you will see in the coming slides, and as my colleagues will also detail further, we are talking about huge communities in which you can also think of it as small cities within cities, right? So the idea of actually introducing such types of assets is quite important and essential. In addition to that, there is one category which we call opportunistic asset classes. And in here, because ROSHN has the land bank of ROSHN is strategically located across the key cities in which we are serving, there are opportunities for us also to contribute to specific priority sectors of the country, such as logistics and transport, where we are looking into logistics parks and others, but also sports, leisure, entertainment, to introduce anchors that will help elevate the quality of life within the country. A case in point, and as many of you might have heard, we are contributing to two stadiums that are part of the Saudi World Cup plans for 2034, one in Riyadh, ROSHN Stadium, as well as our collaboration with Saudi Aramco on Aramco Stadium in Dammam. This is an overview of our geographical coverage. So as of today, we are working on 7 communities, many more to come. But also our land holding spans across 200 million square meter across these regions. Here also a synopsis and a view, and I'm sure my colleagues will even detail this further. We have in Riyadh, Sidra and Warifa. And if you look at Sidra, as I mentioned earlier, we consider this to be big cities, like cities within cities. We are aiming to introduce more than 30,000 residential units in an area of 20 million square meter. We have also in Mecca region 2 projects, Al Arus as well as Marafi, which is going to be an anchor project that will include an 11-kilometer canal that connects the Red Sea all the way to King Abdulaziz Airport in Jeddah. We also have Al Manar in Mecca City that was recently announced, as well as Al Dana in Dammam. As I mentioned, these are initial projects. Many others are still will be announced in due course, and that we're working on at the moment in the company. If we go next, please. Just a bit of an overview on retail, for instance, right? And so that's an asset class that we're focusing on. We're introducing different categories, if you like, of retail offerings across our communities and even beyond. One example here, we have also ROSHN Front, which is a big retail offering close in North Riyadh, close to our Sidra community, and we're aiming to have more than 2 million square meter of GLA for retail, as well as other commercial, and additional 2 million for commercial opportunities. Moving also to, I believe, education, if I'm not mistaken. If we go to the next slide, please. Or hospitality. Another element is hospitality. And again, given the location of our communities, there are opportunities for us to contribute to the country's focus on tourism as a key sector. So we're contributing to that by introducing a big number of keys that will come to the market, targeting different types of visitors, from leisure to business, and also family and friends. Across different classes as well, depending on the location, with different models, right, that we are partnering on with the key leaders in that specific sector. If we move on next as well, please. Also, across in addition to the quality of life elements, of course, education, sports, and entertainment are sectors that we're contributing to. We're aiming to have more than 500 schools or school facilities offered in collaboration with the private sector across the different grades and classes, and with also different curriculums that are all defined and catered depending on the community needs. In addition, as I mentioned, leisure entertainment are things that we are introducing in collaboration with many players locally and internationally. Moving next, please. Just a bit of the aspiration. So ROSHN is aiming to create more than 200,000 jobs to the market directly and indirectly. Of course, we are also contributing to many social elements. I mentioned schools, but even beyond, that's something we're going to do. And of course, there are big investments that ROSHN is aiming to unlock and provide in the process of doing that, in collaboration, of course, with our partners, with our shareholder, and of course the private sector as a key success partner in the whole journey. Maybe I will conclude with just one slide to share with you an overview of our strategic, if you like, aspirations and objectives. So we summarize this in 6 elements. So we aim to become amongst the world's most diversified mixed-use developers, and I mentioned the asset classes we're looking at the moment, as well as providing different types of not only a developer, but also an asset owner and manager, where we have part of our offering to include units that we are going to offer for rent and so on and so forth. Of course, given everything that is happening in Saudi and the aspiration when it comes to the construction and development, we are focusing a lot to become a leader in execution excellence through supply chain resilience and many initiatives and efforts that are also led by my colleague here, Iain. Of course, the opportunity and the scale we're working on give us the leverage of trying to be innovative in our approach. So one great example is ROSHN.com, which is considered to be a super app that is one of a kind when you think of the real estate sector. And it tried to summarize the full journey of residents, from the identification for selecting the house all the way to when they're living in that specific house. Of course, we put a target for us, sustainability, in the last 2 buckets. One is sustainability in partnership with the private sector through the different opportunities, but also when it comes to the ESG and being very environmentally friendly and cautious when we think of that, to support the Saudis' goals when it comes to sustainability. And I'm looking forward to also discuss with you later in the Q&A, and that will be just an overview. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks a lot for listening.
Thank you, Waleed. That's absolutely fascinating, and I think it's really impressive how ROSHN Group has evolved, as you outlined, from sort of house development, residential developments to multiple other asset classes. And just a reminder that you'll be able, as Waleed said, you'll be able to ask him and Roger and Iain questions after these 3 mini presentations. You can submit those questions into the Q&A box in your Zoom bar. Right, now, swiftly over to Roger Fatovic, who is Executive Director, Program Management at ROSHN Group, who's going to be giving an overview of ROSHN Group's various different projects underway today. Roger.
Thank you very much, Ed. It's always difficult following Waleed because he does such a fantastic job articulating ROSHN's vision and strategy, and then I get up and talk about construction. But listen, I'll do my best. First of all, thank you everybody for coming. My name's Roger Fatovic. I am the Executive Director of Program Management here at ROSHN. I'm in charge of the entire ROSHN delivery portfolio, which includes design management, technical engineering, it includes the construction, it includes safety, quality, and then work very, very closely with these guys on the screen. As Waleed very well mentioned earlier, we deliver full turnkey communities. So we deliver residential, but we also provide all the facilitating infrastructure, the mosques, the schools, the retail, the leisure, and everything in between. The first project I'd like to talk to you about is Cedra, which is our premier community within ROSHN. It's the first one we did, and it's probably still our largest. As Waleed mentioned, we've got 7 communities across all of Saudi Arabia. Right now, within those 7 communities, we've got 13 projects under active construction, plus a number more under design. And we've got 30,000 plus units under development, either with us directly or with third-party developers. So if you want to go to the next slide, Cedra, as I mentioned, is our benchmark premier community, 20 million square metres, 30,000 units. We're expecting 170,000 residents over the course of the project. Again, all sounds good in paper, but you really need to get out there to work out the scale. It's made up of 7 separate different projects. Cedra 1A, which was 3,000 units that we delivered ourselves, again, full turnkey, mosques, schools, retail, the whole lot. That has now been handed over. We actively have people living within these communities, which is fantastic from our perspective to see. We were the first PIF entity to sell to end users and the first PIF entity to hand over to end users. So it's something we're very, very proud of. On top of that, you've got Cedra 1B, which is another 1,100 multifamily or apartment units, which are currently under construction, and they'll be finished in 2027. You've got Cedra 2, which has got about 3,500 units on it, and this is all in the same area. So when you're driving up and down Thamama or Airport Road, you may not get the scale of it, but Cedra 2's got 2,500 villas under construction right now, 1,000 units under construction right now by ROSHN. All of the infrastructure. We've got multiple third-party development partners who are also doing product on there. So it's fantastic and moving ahead. We've got Cedra 3, 4 and 5, which is also under construction. All of these projects, as I said, we've got the infrastructure contractors on them, we've got the vertical contractors on them, but as Iain will discuss later on, there's still plenty of opportunities on these existing projects, and we've got another half a dozen projects that are coming up where we're looking to partner with new people in the industry. Cedra 6, 7 and 8 is under design and we'll start construction on that. So just from a Cedra perspective, which is one of the communities we have in Saudi Arabia, you have got tens of thousands of units actively being developed right now as we speak. If you want to go to the next slide, Warifa is one of our smaller projects. We consider it in the central portfolio. It's located in Janadria, about 40 minutes out of Riyadh. This particular project here is on about 1.4 million square metres. We're probably going to be doing about 2,500 units on that job. If you want to go to the next slide, we'll see some images. The infrastructure contract is well underway. The building contract is well underway. From a ROSHN perspective, you know, this will be one of the smaller sizes we deliver. We tend to find 2.5 units is about our sweet spot. So we've got the critical mass for the schools, the mosques, and all the bits and pieces in between. But again, this is something we're very proud of. And even though it's smaller, it's really important to us. If you wanted to go to the next slide, we start moving over to Western region, Al Arus. Not only was this the first project we did in the West, but it was also the second project we've done at ROSHN. Again, if you want to go to the next slide, I've spent a lot of time on Western region and it's something we're very, very proud of. Under construction as we speak, infrastructure's happening. We've got 18,000 units total, including third-party developers. We are delivering just under 3,000 villas ourselves, which are under construction right now. This has got Marafi, which is the canal, which I'll talk about a little bit later on in more detail going through it. But again, we're planning on handing over the first of these units in 2026. So even though we're out in the market, we're building, I think we're a lot more advanced than a lot of people I think we are. If you go to the next slide, we've got our key project in Mecca called Al Manar. The whole project's probably 21 million square metres. We're doing about 33,000 units. The first phase is under construction as we speak. It's about 4 million square metres. The infrastructure contract has been let. The building contract has been let. We've finished the sales centre and the Street of Dreams and the mock-ups. So this is moving ahead very, very nicely. If you want to go to the next slide, we move our way to next slide as well, if you don't mind. I think so we move to the east. We've got a number of projects planned for the eastern region. This is one of our key communities, Aldana, which is located in Dammam. If you want to go to the next slide, this is actively under construction right now. We've completed the sales centre. We've completed the mock-ups. We've awarded the major construction contract of 2,500 villas. Again, this will have all the schools, all the mosques, all the retail, all the leisure, and everything in between as a full turnkey lifestyle community. We will be launching this in the coming months, which is very, very exciting for everybody. It's the first project we'll launch in the Eastern region. If you'd like to go to the next slides, you'll see that what we have here is the ROSHN Stadium. This one hasn't been formally announced yet, but you would have seen it on all the social media with all the FIFA announcements and all the bits and pieces in between. This is the stadium we're going to be building within Riyadh. We're also doing, as you probably know, a stadium in Dammam with Aramco, but this one we're going to be fully delivering ourselves. It's currently being designed by Foster's. We're finalising the design within the next few months. We're out in the market now for contractors and consultants, so there's a lot going on there. The last one that I'd like to discuss, which is very, very exciting for us, is the full Marafi. Marafi is the canal within Jeddah, which Waleed mentioned earlier as well. To give you some context, a lot of you guys are familiar with what's going on in Dubai with Dubai Marina and what that looks like. Dubai Marina is about 4.2 kilometres long. It's about 40 metres wide, average 60 metres at the widest. What we're doing here is we're doing 10.2 kilometres. We're doing a 100-metre wide canal with 100 metres of real estate on either side. And the first phase is already under construction. So if you want to go to the next slide, you'll see the total area is about 6.8 million square metres. We've got 52,000 units, which will be in the final phase. It's 7 phases. The first phase, which is within Al Arus, is actually already under construction. So the first 3 kilometres, the first 100 metres of the canal and 3 pedestrian bridges is actually under construction as we speak. As I mentioned, there's another 6 phases coming over the next 2 to 3 years. On top of those 6 phases, we've got major infrastructure works for facilitating infrastructure with 9 major public bridges, roadworks and everything in between. So this is another project that we're very, very proud of and that I think we're leading the way internationally. I don't think there's too many people building canals like this. And I think that's pretty much it for me, guys. That's a quick overview. As I said, 13 projects under construction, 7 communities. Right now, 30,000 units that we're in the process of delivering. And it really is only a drop in the bucket of what we've got coming up and a lot of the stuff Iain's going to be talking about in the next few slides. So I'll hand it over back to Ed. And guys, looking forward to any questions that I might be able to help you out with. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. I mean, I've been tracking or looking at projects for 20 years now in the region, and I'm just blown away by ROSHN's projects. And just to think it's just, as you said, just the beginning of a long journey that you have. It's just astounding. And yeah, and for those of you watching today, you can actually go and see the projects. La Cedra, as Roger said, the first phases are finished and people are moving in. Are living there, so you can see it for yourself. So absolutely incredible. Right, now for the third mini presentation today, we'll be hearing about procurement and procurement opportunities from Iain McBride, who is the Executive Director Commercial at ROSHN Group. You can imagine how busy he must be with trying to help Roger deliver all of this. So Iain, over to you to hear more about this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Obviously, I'm the last presentation here, and it just seems to get more and more exciting as we go on. So to top it all off, we've got our procurement approach, which we're quite proud of. If we can go to the next slide. So much like ROSHN's overall strategy, we have evolved since originally being established 4 or 5 years ago. And I just touch on this because I think it is quite important and sets the context for the remainder of the presentation, and hopefully sets the context for some of the questions we might receive. So we started off ROSHN Supply Chain 1.0, much like we were doing affordable homes. Supply Chain 1.0 is a very traditional approach to how we go about procurement. We heavily relied on requests for proposals, where we would go out, we would PQQ a massive list of bidders, we would check your availability, we'd come out with a pretty dry RFP. You would formally submit queries back and forward through a faceless ERP tendering system. You then submit your proposals. It would all go quiet while we evaluated it, and then we'd come back at the end and try and squeeze you on price. And obviously that, you know, from a governance point of view, is quite traditional and very, very robust. But we very quickly understood that this does not get us the best value, and it can make life much more difficult for Roger post-contract when parts of the RFP have maybe not been understood. There was no real dialogue getting to the meat of a procurement exercise and what we can do to help each other out. So we then established ROSHN Supply Chain 2.0, which was an increased use in framework agreements. And what we essentially did here is we would technically evaluate and come up with a list of key partners up front before any live project. We could really understand from a technical point of view who understood the ROSHN mindset and mantra as to what we're trying to offer the kingdom. And by the flip side, we could really get to know our partners before signing a big contract with them. In addition, we could agree all of the commercial terms and conditions outside of the tender, and we can also look at some indicative pricing of rates and overheads and general requirements, essentially to very quickly get to an understanding of what ROSHN's expectations are in terms of contractual price points, and also understand from the supply chain side what was the art of the possible in terms of pricing, and what are the key risks for supply chain security and cost escalation. So we did all that, and what it resulted in is a series of framework agreements, which are still open for others to join, but it allowed us to make the procurement process for live projects much less painful, and it allows us to have much more of a competitive dialogue and negotiated procurement route, which works better for us in terms of time and ensuring there's a real understanding of scope and expectation. And the feedback from the market is it works a lot better for the suppliers as well, because they don't have to go for every project. You know you're in with a good shout because you're already technically qualified, pre-qualified. You already know that your price will be within the ballpark of what we're expecting. We did a lot of work with the extended supply chain to establish master purchase agreements. ROSHN obviously will come on to this in a second, but we are buying at an unprecedented scale. So we are able to help leverage our direct supply chain agreements to support the main contractor in getting good supply and installation prices, which again is proven quite successful as we've been able to extract value from the post-contract phase. Now, ROSHN 3.0 is where we are now, and it's what we're particularly excited about. It really focuses on early contractor involvement. So rather than taking framework agreements and looking at generic projects to try and get an upfront understanding of how both parties work, Supply Chain 3.0 takes that one step further and really looks to award contracts much earlier in the design process, whilst not transferring all the risk of a traditional design and build onto the contractor. It allows the contractor to come in early in the procurement cycle and work hand in hand with ROSHN as a strategic partner and help us influence our design in terms of buildability, value engineering, in terms of de-risking the design from a supply chain point of view. Maybe looks at how we can get some early work off the ground. We are developers. We're not building one-off unique projects. So part of the challenge in development is taste change, the economy changes, interest rates change, land price changes. So our master plans, while we lock in the vision early on, we have to make them as flexible as possible to respond to our customers' needs and the ever-evolving supply chain landscape. So we rely on our contractors to come in early and give us some good ideas as to how we can design in some resilience into our phasing approach. So this is where we are at the moment, supply chain 3.0, and we're really excited to have as many potential partners speak to us as we can, because we genuinely believe that it is a low risk approach for the supply chain that extracts maximum value for us and most importantly for our customers. So if we can move on to the next slide. Why are we doing this? Next slide, please. So just to give an idea of the scale, and Waleed touched on this. So at a very high level, we have over 200 million square meters of land that we have to develop. Now, to put that into context, that's twice the size of Paris. It's 3 times the size of Manhattan in the US. It is an unbelievable land bank that we've got in our hands at the moment that has to be developed. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do it through a great strategy, relying on sub-developers and development partners. Great. But we also need to rely on great main contractors and a very, very robust and strong supply chain. And I'll give a very high level view in this discussion, but we do encourage you to come along to any of our supply chain roadshows or workshops, because we can get right into the granular detail of what we need, the specs, what's expected. But just to give some context, we have enough pipes to go to the top of Kingdom Tower 3,000 times. We can tile Jawara Stadium over 1,000 times, enough steel to build the Golden Gate Bridge 102 times. Next slide. This one is pretty impressive. I was fortunate enough to visit China last year, speaking to some contractors over there. I went to see the Great Wall. It's hard to demonstrate on a picture, but we can paint the Great Wall of China 4 times over. So the Great Wall is 25,000 kilometers long. We can paint it 4 times over with the amount of paint we need in our master plans. We've got enough windows to glaze the Burj Khalifa 86 times. We can build the Hoover Dam 51 times over, and amazingly, enough cables to circumnavigate the globe 32 times. So again, just the scale of what we're trying to achieve is absolutely outstanding. And this goes back to our direct agreements with the supply chain, you know, how we partner with main contractors, really partner with main contractors. We've got mechanisms in our contract where we'll go out with the main contractor to work with the supply chain to buy windows in the millions, to buy linear meters of cable in the millions. We can go through master purchase agreements, guaranteed offtakes, co-investment deals. We do lots and lots of these. And with the main contractor on their project, we'll do a savings share mechanism, which we're already rolling out in Sidra. Sidra's phases 3, 4, and 5. We have a great deal with the contractor whereby there's a contract with supply and install rates. We work together with the contractor. Anything we save through the supply chain against the main contract, we split the savings 50-50, which incentivizes both ROSHN and the main contractor to really expand their supply chain, work with smaller local partners, and help again extract value that's ultimately passed on to our customers. So I'm just conscious of time, looking at some of the success stories. If we can move to the next slide. One of the ones we're particularly proud of, most people know Grohe, a great brand that make bathroom and sanitary fixtures. We've partnered with Grohe and Alzamo to guarantee some demand down there, allowing them to open a factory here in Saudi Arabia. Now that does a couple of things. It obviously completely de-risks our supply chain. We're not importing these products from abroad, which obviously with some of the geopolitical context over the last few years anything we can bring into Kingdom, number one, from a logistics point of view, is great for the project. Not only for ROSHN, but for the wider construction industry as well. We're boosting a supply chain that when you see the numbers I was presenting earlier on the products we need, you multiply that, you know, many, many times over for all of the giga projects and the private industry that are delivering in Saudi. It benefits everyone. It also benefits in terms of local content considerations and foreign direct investment into the Kingdom, which is part of the reason we're all here and supporting PIF, is to generate the economy and the various industries, you know, outside of oil. So it ticks many, many boxes, and we're super keen to hear from any potential partners that are looking at investing manufacturing in Saudi, are looking at domestically producing any goods or the assembly of any goods. We're really keen to see how we can help. And again, we can do that through direct investment. We can do it through guaranteed offtake agreements to help de-risk the capital injections needed to establish a new manufacturing facility in the Kingdom. If we can go to the next slide. Again, trees, there's some amazing projects going on in the Kingdom at the moment, and when you look, I've not got them in this slide, but when you look across the sort of Green Riyadh slide, the Green Riyadh project, all of the mega projects that are coming up, we require trees in Saudi in the tens of millions. It's a staggering vision that the Kingdom has in terms of sustainability and creating great open spaces for the population. So ROSHN in itself, we need millions of trees across our own development. We have created or established our own nursery down in Jeddah, and we've also created a Green Initiative Centre here in Riyadh, where we look at various different new technologies around sustainability, sustainable construction, and what we can do. We've got a great product that we are rolling out now in some of our master plans, which is essentially a CO2 and harmful gas absorbing paint. Really, really excited. When we apply these to our villas, each villa will absorb the same amount of harmful gases as sort of 12 fully mature trees. So again, another awesome initiative that we're working closely with our supply chain to help bring to the larger market. So again, if there's anyone on the call that has a new technology or a new initiative or a new way of doing things, ROSHN is super keen to have a look at that and work out how we can support with our scale and how we can help you commercialize these technologies to make them the benchmark for a sort of revolutionary construction industry. We have a great opportunity here with the scale that we're doing, and it would be a real waste if we just did things the way it's always been done in the construction industry. The industry itself is often criticized for being slow to adopt change and slow to adopt technology. So we are really trying to change that with our supply chain partners. Again, if we can go to the next slide. So again, this is, you know, a bit of a dull slide, but it just shows you some of the key initiatives that we've completed to date. And again, a lot of these initiatives, the reason I wanted to show it here is they have all been with the support of our supply chain. None of these initiatives are ROSHN on their own. Every single one on this slide is been through close collaboration with our supply chain partners. So we've worked very closely with PIF and the Ministry of Finance to pilot the first new contractor financing program, which gets contractors great interest rates if they're working on a PIF-backed project. We built our own precast factory in the north of Sidra, so precast was a big problem for us. We got, through foreign direct investment, we've built, as we believe, the biggest precast facility in the Middle East. And again, an idea of scale that supports 3 phases of Sidra only for the next 3 years, and it's already at capacity. We've got over 100 strategic agreements. We've got the supplier development program, which we'll come on to. Nursery, I touched on. The carbon absorbing paint, I touched on. We've got our own local content program, which will be branded and announced very soon. We're looking at supply chain contracting. which is where, as I discussed, where we work very closely with the supply chain and the main contractor to generate great savings and take away what can be a prolonged approval cycle on site through the engineer. A great initiative with Alupco, which was announced a few weeks ago, whereby we are helping invest in a fully automated factory to greatly boost the production of aluminium windows. And another quite well-known one is a big deal we did with Abiat to help support them localize some manufacturing and supply a lot of our products with great quality kitchens. And then looking forward, again, as I've said, we're looking for foreign direct investment deals. Local content's obviously a big consideration of what we do. We're looking to help work with the supply chain to boost that. We're looking at a B2B platform with Waleed's team on how we can put a lot of our great supply chain deals onto a platform where the contractors can access it, not just for ROSHN projects, but for their wider portfolios, to really help give access to small, medium enterprises in the kingdom. We'll take the first delivery of our homegrown trees, which we're quite excited about. Back to Waleed's point, we're looking at joint ventures with the partners. And we're also quite exciting, again, is we're looking at moving away from the sort of more traditional forms of contract where, you know, there's a lot of dispute resolution and our claims heavy and a lot of the risk is transferred onto the contractor and the supply chain. We're actually piloting our first alliancing form of contract. Those of you that have worked sort of in Europe and Australia and the Americas, alliancing's been going for some years, but it's very, very new here in the Middle East. So we want to pioneer that. So again, we've got lots on the cards, lots of good ideas, and I'd just stress that we need the help of those on this call to make it a reality. If we can go to the next slide. So our supplier development program, again, we'll run through this very, very quickly. There's a big push on behalf of our shareholder and as ROSHN. We keep talking about the investment that Saudi Arabia is making into its construction industry, and the vision is fantastic. We need to make sure that money is used very wisely, and once all of these giga projects are complete, and we hit 2030 and move beyond 2030, we really need to make sure that money's been spent wisely. And it's critical to part of our mission here in ROSHN. And part of that is to help grow the construction industry to support future growth and ultimately expand outside of Saudi Arabia and become a key pillar of the kingdom's economy post 2030. So if we go to the next slide.
Yes, and Iain, if you don't mind, I can see we've got nearly 50 questions. So if we can have a couple of minutes, if we can have a couple more minutes and then we can answer them.
So supplier development program, it's a unique program to ROSHN, whereby we're looking to take SME vendors, contractors, consultants. We put them through an intensive boot camp and essentially explain the way ROSHN wants to do business with them. We take any questions. We try and mentor them through things like RFPs, cost planning, health and safety, programming, procurement, supply chain management, anything that we can do to help grow and help you guys get a better score when you're bidding on ROSHN tenders and also wider PIF tenders. If we go to the next slide. We can go on to the next slide. It's just a couple of facts. We've had over 100 companies join us so far last year. We've seen a lot of these companies go on to be very successful in our procurement cycle. We've partnered with Turner and Townsend, who have given us great support in facilitating some of these, and it's across many different sectors within the industry. If we go to the next slide. Policies and procedures we've sort of touched on, but there are specific policies and procedures for SMEs. If we go on to the next slide, there should be if we go over this one again, this is just what we do before we have the boot camp. We reach out to the attendees, understand what they want to look at. During the camp, it's fully interactive and quite intensive, but it's tailored to what the SMEs want to learn. And post the boot camp, we have an extensive feedback session, and we actively track the performance of our SMEs on ROSHN projects and during the procurement phase. So there is ongoing feedback. And if you are a registered SME within the Kingdom, I would strongly advise that you register with ROSHN for these boot camps. It's a few days, but it gets you a lot of support, and it gets you on our radar as a desired future partner. If we go to the next slide. Again, I've touched on this. We're rolling it out in 2025. Some of the key things we're looking at: BIM, local content, sustainability, ESG, supply chains and claims, and risk management. So there should be our email. We'll be shared all of the there we go. There's the contact information, but I've spoken with Ed beforehand. I'll get a copy of everyone that's attending, and we'll reach out on both how to register with ROSHN as a general supplier, and also specifically for the supplier development program, details of the members of my team that manage that, and how you can get involved.
Wonderful. Thank you, Iain. And I'm sure there are many companies here very excited about being involved, especially if I look at the questions, and I can see there's a lot of questions about how they can participate. If you would like to be contacted by ROSHN, please answer here, yes or no. And then I believe there's another poll question once you've answered that. And while we're just answering these questions, if we go on to the next poll, Iain, there is a link also on the ROSHN Group website, isn't there, for vendor registration?
There is. You can go in through the ROSHN website. It's very straightforward. But as I say, we'll reach out to the list of attendees today specifically, as long as they say they want to be contacted, and offer a sort of one-on-one support to get registered.
Well, that's not something you hear very often. The clients are coming to you, so it's a great opportunity for everyone here today to get contacted. All right, another question here: is your company already working on a large project in Saudi Arabia? Okay, right. So you should all have received the link to this presentation at the bottom of an email. There's a link at the bottom of the email that we've sent you, so you'll be able to download it as well. Right, now, let's move on to the questions and answers. And we've got many dozens of questions here, so I don't know if we're going to have time to answer all of them, but I've seen a few that I would ask the Roger, Waleed, and Iain to answer if they can, and but briefly, given the amount of time we have left. Quick question here, and here's another poll question as well, if you want to answer that while I answer this question, which is ROSHN considering any district cooling for its current or future projects? Don't know who wants to answer that one. Maybe Roger.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, listen, it's not on any of the current projects that we're currently building, but we've got an extensive technical engineering team, and a section of those guys are working on the opportunity for district cooling on some future projects. So it definitely is on the table, but we are not 100% committed to it at this time.
Thank you. And we have a question here about project funding. Are you open to international project finance, or indeed international investment in your projects? So
from the construction side, the supply chain side, absolutely. Every option's on the table. We're obviously a commercially driven developer, so project funding does help our cash flow, obviously when balanced with the construction costs. So it is something we're looking at. We've secured funding through the local banks. So absolutely, we can we can put you in touch with the relevant department that's handling that if you reach out to us after the session.
Yeah, and I think the impression I'm getting is that you're open to all sorts of different types of delivery mechanisms, financing mechanisms, technologies, and so on. Talking of which, I've had a few questions about building and construction technologies. Are you looking at new building technologies? I see digital twins, other digital delivery methods. How important or critical is sort of new ways of working and also adding in off-site fabrication, modular fabrication into the delivery of these projects?
Yeah, I might have a crack at that if you guys don't mind. I think it's critical. I think for us to achieve the scalability of the business that we need to deliver the numbers of units that we have to, I think we're looking at all forms of different technologies. I think we have a dedicated MMC team here within the project execution function, modern methods of construction, that are looking at all of these. And I also think we've got so much coming up, and we've got such a large volume of units. There's an opportunity for us to look at all sorts of different technologies at various different scales in the short to medium term. So I hope that answers your question.
It certainly does. Thank you, Roger. And a question here about how do design consultants and engineering firms pre-qualify or register with ROSHN Group, and how do you procure design contracts?
So it's essentially everyone that wants to work with ROSHN on the construction side, they all get in touch the same way, and it's ideally through our website. But again, as I said, for everyone on this call, we'll reach out directly. So particularly with our consultants, we have framework agreements with supervision consultants, with lead design consultants, and engineering consultants, with cost consultants. We all like, particularly for these services, we like to work through a framework. Again, it removes the burden of protracted tendering, which tend to be quite repetitive. I mean, there's only so many questions you can ask an engineering consultant or a supervision consultant. So we take all that off, and we have pre-agreed rates with these consultants, and essentially on a project by project basis, you provide a deployment schedule for the purposes of applying the rates. We work out a lump sum price, and then you deliver against deliverables in terms of the engineering and the cost management. Supervision is slightly different, it's resource based, but we want to take all of the pain out of the procurement. So again, if you're interested in being involved in that, the framework's live. It's been used successfully for the last couple of years. The feedback from those that are on the framework is that it works really well. Our partners are able to submit proposals for projects within a couple of weeks instead of it being months. The framework gives us the opportunity to come out up front and really explain the brief of the project and what we're looking for. So again, it's not reviewing a lot of documents. So you go on, you register through the invite, but when we come out to you directly, you will have a specific name within the ROSHN supply chain team. It won't be a supplier at ROSHN. It will be a specific person that will be tasked to follow up with you all and make sure that the registration's done and give you direction on exactly how you start partnering with us. So in summary, the registration will be easy. Working with us can be easy, and we'll make sure that everyone's followed up individually with a tailored approach as to how we can potentially work together.
This, thank you, Iain. And this registration process, is that using SAP, Oracle, or Ariba, or others?
We have an Oracle-based system. Again, we've tried to make it as simple as possible, but again, you only have to do it once. It's certainly no more onerous than what you'll have had to do with other companies. We don't ask really for anything too bespoke. It's the usual documentation, company registration certificate, contact details, these kind of things. The registration is very, very straightforward.
Question here about PPP. Do you have PPP opportunities for things like the clinics, the schools, and other elements of the social infrastructure on the projects?
Maybe I'll take a crack at that if you allow me. So yes, there are opportunities to partner with the private sector, be it in different asset classes or in the projects. I mean, again, if someone within that, we are trying through our business development team to build the pool of potential partners. If someone is interested, we're also more than happy to approach us and to have such discussion. But to summarize, the answer is yes, there are opportunities across the projects and across different asset classes to partner with the private sector.
Now, a common question we get is about localization. What are your local content requirements?
Good, yeah. So that was really an underpinning part of our strategy. Is how do we boost localization and how do we boost local content? Now we understand the scale of what we're trying to do absolutely requires the support of foreign partners, but we are 100% committed to helping these foreign partners localize as much of the project as possible. And we're also committed to, as I said, our small, medium enterprises and companies with high local content certificates. So local content certification does form part of our commercial evaluation. ROSHN itself has its own local content targets that we have to hit with our shareholder. We are sort of leading the way on that at the moment. So it is really, really important. But it's all expressed in our RFP. And again, we'll work hand in hand with partners to help boost the local content of each project. So it's not something that should scare potential partners off. We'll help guide you through that process. And also, if you are already pretty mature in your local content application, it will benefit you in the procurement process. We do actively encourage it.
Great, thank you. And there's a lot of support and cheering from the audience about this supply chain version 3, which is obviously great. The question here is there a third-party company, program manager, so on, who is helping ROSHN with this integrated project management method, or do you do it all in-house?
No, there's not. We're doing it in-house. I think I'm a great believer that if we're going to pioneer something, we have to be fully invested in it. The team have to be fully committed. It's not something that we've outsourced at all. It's been fully developed with and alongside. So okay, maybe let me rephrase. When I say it's not been outsourced at all, it's been developed in full collaboration with our current supply chain. So we've taken full feedback from our current contractors, our current suppliers, those that have been successful in tenders with us, those that have not been successful in tenders with us. So it's been driven internally, as in we've not engaged with any consultants to help us design this or roll this out, but it's as much a success from the wider industry as it is from ROSHN. So I can't take full credit for it, or our team can't take full credit for it. A lot of credit has to go to the supply chain.
Thank you. And we got a question about architects. Can they be part of the bootcamp? And if so, how? And when is your next bootcamp workshop?
Okay, so there's a bootcamp workshop, I believe, in June, certainly within Q2 of this year. The bootcamp is tailored towards SMEs at the moment. So it doesn't matter whether you're a contractor, an architect, a cost consultant. It's specifically for SMEs within the kingdom. That said, and it's a good point. Perhaps we run one for the wider supply chain. So that's a good position. We'll take a look at that and again announce it and reach out. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do it for non-SMEs in addition to the SMEs.
Good. Couple of questions about the canal, Roger, if maybe you can answer. Is it going to be seawater, and when do you hope that construction will start on that?
Okay, so yes, definitely seawater. It's connected through Ophor to Ophor Creek. So construction has already started. So we started construction in January on the first phase, which is 2.3 kilometres, 100 metres wide and 3 bridges. So we are actively digging a very big hole as we speak.
Which we'll be able, I'm sure we'll all be able to see in due course as it develops. Which services are still open for framework agreements? Master plans, architecture design, interior design. Do you still have that kind of master planning design work still open for framework, or is that now closed?
Yeah, so look, let me again just to reiterate, the ROSHN 1.0 supply chain was, here's a tender, the tender's closed, you're on the list or you're not on the list. The beauty of the frameworks, the way they're positioned and the way we negotiate them, rates are generally aligned across the framework, giving everyone a fair shot at taking work with us. Our scope is too big to deal with one or two partners. We need lots of partners. So the opportunity to get onto the framework doesn't expire. You can come on today, you can come on tomorrow. As long as we work through and agree that you're meeting the technical requirements, you're meeting the mindset that ROSHN wants. So as much as it's about technical expertise, it's also about being able to work collaboratively with ROSHN. And as long as we align on the commercials, any party can come onto the framework at any time. There's no expiration. So if you've not engaged with ROSHN until now, and we reach out after this call and we establish some dialogue, there's no reason why you can't get onto one of our frameworks.
Okay, thanks. We're running out of time, so I'll just two last quick questions. If a company has already registered with you but has never heard back or hasn't yet received tenders, perhaps there was an issue in the registration process or whatever, how can they get in touch with you to complete that whole process?
Okay, so for this specific case, we will be reaching out to everyone that's ticked yes that they want to be contacted. And again, as I say, it will be a responsible person in ROSHN. It won't be a faceless email. So please just respond to that email saying you were on the call and you've submitted a registration and you've not been contacted. Now, one thing I would caveat is the number of companies and organizations that reach out to register with ROSHN is immense, and it's impossible for us to get through them all. So apologies if we've not contacted you. Establishing the dialogue, coming along to events like this really helps you get your name in front of ROSHN. It gets you an audience with us directly. So please, whoever's raised that question, if you respond to the email that you'll receive in the next day or so, just let us know and we'll look into it.
Wonderful, thank you, Iain. And last question, really, about future work pipeline. If you are registered and have access to the vendors portal, do you get to see what are the sort of short-term procurement pipelines and what's coming up over the year ahead?
So traditionally, how we usually do it is we do it through events like this. So every year we have our supply chain forum, which is posted online. It's sent out to every registered vendor that we have with us, and we encourage people to come along to that. So that's usually twice a year. We'll do a supply chain roadshow. We aim to do one in the West and one in Riyadh. It's been going for the last couple of years. So I would actively encourage whoever is the registered contact in our portal looks out for those invites, because that is the big event. That's the event where myself and Roger and Waleed and our development leads go into a lot of detail and show project by project what we're going through. It's a confidential presentation, so we're able to show more of what's not been announced, more of what's coming in the future, because everyone that's registered with us has an NDA, so we can share a lot more than we can on events like this. So I would encourage everyone to come to that. That's really the platform for us showcasing our immediate and longer term demand. Number one.
And another reason to register.
Yeah, another reason to register. And number two, we are looking to start sending out periodic updates on what we're doing on our projects and what's coming. So it's part of part of the plan we've got coming, but again, that would be sent to our registered partners that have all signed an NDA. So again, as Ed said, please register and you'll be receiving these updates.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Waleed, Roger, and Ian, for that fascinating insight, and certainly whets the appetite for this enormous amount of work to come. We've run out of time, and I know there are some questions which haven't been answered, but we'll send the questions over to ROSHN, and with any luck, they'll be able to reply to you. Just as another note, this has been recorded, so it will be uploaded, and you'll be able to listen to it again in your own time, and you will have received a link to download the presentation itself at the bottom of the email that you have received, and you click the link. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you will see the link to download this this deck. Just a reminder, ROSHN are hosting us at the venue in the middle of May, in just a few weeks' time, where we will have our Saudi Giga Projects conference. If you there is a QR code there you can scan to get more information. And I will see you there, and hopefully you'll also have the opportunity to meet the executives here today and others from ROSHN as well in person to speak to them about potential opportunities. Just to highlight again the sponsors and some of the other companies that will be there. The great and the good from the Saudi projects ecosystem will be present. Many Giga project clients, many other mega project clients in the kingdom. And I hope to see you all there in person. That just leaves me to say thank you very much to Ian, to Roger, and to Waleed for their time. As you can see, they're really, really, really busy. So we're extremely grateful for them to be able to give us their time today to answer your questions and to present their plans. So thank you very much. And from me and from ROSHN, have a very good afternoon, and hopefully speak to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Welcome to the MEED Saudi Giga Projects 2024.
An extraordinary vision of His Royal Highness King Salman and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. A vision manifested into reality through the astonishing Giga projects in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.